You can travel for back in time here. A secret place. Where shall we go today? The seeker of the blue bird that shines with moonlight. The silent kingdom. Preparing for the coming time. The sound of a horn echoed through the kingdom. It was not loud, nor heroic. Low and long. It sank deep into the chest. It announced that the time had come. The night shadows stir. Outside the walls of the night kingdom of Aldenas, darkness moved. It was neither wind nor mist. Shadows shaped like humans. The Ryue, once people. Those who had lost the light. Forced to remain in the shadows. When torchlight neared, their faces twisted in pain. Light was agony to them. Still, they did not stop. A kingdom ready for the time. On the castle walls, the knights stood in formation. Not a hurried defense driven by fear, but armor polished, swords sharpened. Lines of men quiet and disciplined. This kingdom had been waiting. For the day the moonlight returned. For the day shadows would move. Celios stood at the gate, gazing over the field. "Do not fear," he said quietly, unwavering. "This is not the battle's end. It is the beginning." Eel's role. Eel carried no sword. Not because of fear. His role was elsewhere. Celios placed a hand on his shoulder. "Go to Astrael." It was not an order, but a handover. "Find the blue bird. Bring its feather to the spring atop that mountain." Lumiel. He said the name, and Celios slightly lowered his eyes. He prepared for the coming time. Leaving the kingdom behind. The gates opened. Knights advanced, swords ready. The Ryue surged forward. Clashing metal. Impact. Shouts. With all of it behind him, Eel headed east. Beyond the battle. But toward the center of the world. One who still knows. The mountains to Astrael. The mountain path was steep and silent. The sky dark, the moon unseen. Soon, old scars appeared on the rock. Sword marks. Broken shields. Here, a battle had taken place. Lumiel's end. Higher up the mountain, on a windswept ledge, Eel found him. Armor shattered. Sword broken. Yet still upright. Kneeling, sword planted in the ground. Lumiel. Around him, traces of the Ryue remained. The struggle had been fierce. He had not turned back in fear, but in pursuit of his duty. And he had fallen. Eel knelt quietly. He did not draw his sword. Bowing his head. "You prepared, didn't you?" The wind passed through, answering in its own way. The path carried on. Lumiel fell here. But it was not in vain. His battle had shown the path this far. He laid down his life. For the coming time. Eel stood. He was not stronger than Lumiel. But he stood in his place. This was what it meant to inherit. The blue bird appears. As he climbed, the air changed. Sound faded. Then, a faint light danced. The same glow as moonlight. Yet warm somehow. The blue bird. At last, it appeared. No need to chase. It would not flee. Entrusted feather. The bird dropped a single feather. Like a fragment of the moon. Eel received it with both hands. The tapestry on his chest glimmered faintly. The blue bird looked at me as if it had been waiting. Then it vanished. The guidance had ended here. The spring at the summit. At the mountain's peak, a small spring appeared. Clear water, reflecting no sky. Eel gently dipped the feather. The water rippled, shining with light. It was a sign of the beginning. Light flows again. The light overflowed from the spring, flowed down the mountain, became a river, and returned to the world. Moonlight began to circulate once more. The Riway could not resist. They would not disappear. But they changed. The reason to remain in the shadows was lost. In the midst of battle. In the kingdom, swords still clashed. Yet the sky had brightened slightly. So slightly that no one noticed. And that was enough. The Night Kingdom had been ready for the coming time. And now, that readiness had meaning. Eel looked up at the summit sky. The moon still did not appear. But it would return. Lumiel had prepared. The kingdom had prepared. And he had fulfilled his role. With that alone, the world began to move. Light versus darkness. In a world where the moon circles. In a world where the moon makes its rounds. The night was not yet over. Darkness did not rule. And yet, the light had not fully returned. The world stood. Just before taking its next breath. All sound had fallen silent. Leaving only choice behind. That was this night. Before the last dawn. The nightly kingdom of Ardennes stood wrapped in silence. Along the castle walls, countless figures were lined up. They were not shadows of darkness. They were human forms, encased in armor. Swords were clenched. Shields were raised. Strength filled their fingertips. Yet, not a single voice was raised. They were not suppressing fear. This silence itself was their resolve. If one listened closely, only two sounds remained. The scrape of cloth against the wind, and the faint tremble of breathing. The sky was dark. The moon had not yet returned. Low clouds hung heavy. stealing the stars from their place. Even so, no one stepped back. They knew why they stood here. Not to survive, not for victory, but so that what this kingdom had prepared for, in the face of the coming time, would not be wasted. Ardenas understood. This battle was not meant to end anything. It was a battle meant to be passed on. A night meant to leave a path toward a world where the moon would circle once more. What the darkness birthed. From far to the southeast, the ground trembled. At first, it was so small, it felt like an illusion. But in the next moment, the vibration rose clearly from beneath their feet. Low, heavy, rhythmic, unsettlingly alive. It was not thunder, not an earthquake. It was a heartbeat. The final power, chosen by the people of Lingering Shadow. They knew that once the light began to return, there would be no place left to flee. And so, at the edge of the world, they found it. An egg. A being that should never have hatched. One meant to be sealed in darkness and forgotten. Fear and despair can turn taboo into purpose. A dragon with two heads. One mouth unleashed a roar, shaking the air. Rage and rejection. The other breathed fire, scorching the land. Destruction and severance. Two wills. Two denials. Its form did not oppose the kingdom alone. It rejected the forests, the mountains, even the sky itself, as if declaring, the world will never return to what it was. This was not a monster born of darkness. It was the final choice of those who had nothing left but to cling to it. The night changed forever. The night's charge. A command rang out, short and sharp. The knights surged forward, as if casting fear aside. But the difference in power was unmistakable. Shields shattered. Spears snapped. Men were hurled aside. Even so, they did not retreat. This was a place where retreat was not allowed. The name of the war captain. The war captain. Gladios. He stepped forward. The dragon's tail roared. His shield shattered. Flames swept across the field. Spears burned black and fell away. Even so, Gladios remained standing. From his back, he drew a single sword. A blade passed down through generations of the kingdom. It had not slain many, but it had protected many. The end of the two-headed dragon. The dragon roared. Two wills. Two rages. But one sword was enough. Gladios took a single step forward. The blade he swung was not technique. It was resolve itself. One head fell. The other screamed. The dragon collapsed, its body crashing to the ground. The world regained its weight. The flight of the people of lingering shadow. At that moment, the sky changed. From in the clouds, a pale light. Moonlight. Incomplete. Yet undeniably, it had begun to return. The people of lingering shadow saw it and understood. They could no longer resist the light. They feared it, and they fled to the southeast, to the edge of the world, to remain within shadow. The moon circles. The clouds drifted apart, and the moon revealed itself. A broken moon. Yet it was enough. Its light bathed the kingdom, washed over forests, and crossed the mountains. The world became whole once more. Darkness did not vanish, but it no longer ruled. Eel's return. At the mountain's peak, Eel watched the moon. He knew it was over. He did not shout. He did not cry out. He simply lowered his head in silence. The world was saved. And that was enough. A gift from the kingdom. At Aldina's, Eel was welcomed. Instead, a single package. Inside, a dagger, old papers, and the kingdom's seal. Right. That was all, Celios said. To the village. Eel returned west. The elder fog forest. The stone-speaking road. The Starless Ridge. Moonlight reached them all. The beginning of the story. The village had not changed, but the night sky had. Eel sat at his desk and took up his pen. This is not a hero's tale. It is the story of a nameless youth, passing on what he received to the next. In closing, the moon continues to circle as long as someone prepares and someone else inherits. And those who read this story, too, may one day find themselves preparing for the time to come. Thank you so much for watching until now. Please leave your comments, opinions, or thoughts. If you enjoyed the story, please give it a thumbs up. See you in the next story. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. Happiness for all viewers.